Fantasy Footballers Sunday Live.
Welcome in, one and all. Little pinch hitter in the building today. No Mike Wright. Mike didn't want to deal with the tilt and conundrums of today, so I am taking over. And there are plenty of them. I've got the very end of this wet blanket of a London game going in the corner. And, well, I mean, the Atlanta offense, right? It's a real blast to watch that. Mac Hollins screaming on the sidelines at his quarterback, who should have thrown 3 picks on 3 consecutive drives. Bijan's had a good game. Tyler Algier seems like a bench at this point. Drake London, if he scores, you're happy-ish. And Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is apparently what Kyle Pitts could never be. So welcome in. Al Borland in the building.
What's up, Footclan?
Helping me out. Got the chat popping. Got lots of questions, a lot of things going on this morning, and some pretty important discussions to be had. So hopefully I can help you out this morning as we head into an important week 4 of the NFL. Let's get into it.
The big picture.
Well, we've got actives and inactives to talk about, and with that, some other news that's broken this morning regarding some pretty important high draft capital selections for your fantasy team. Let's get into the inactives, though, first. Jimmy Garoppolo, Deshaun Watson. Both quarterbacks are not going to play today, so you're going to get a couple of rookies, Aiden O'Connell and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I was pretty worried if it was going to be Brian Hoyer in Las Vegas. I'm moderately encouraged by the fact that they went with Aiden O'Connell. It gives me enough confidence to throw Devontae Adams out there without fear. Aiden O'Connell looked really good in the preseason. He's willing to throw the ball downfield. Jacoby Myers becomes slightly more sketch. I mean, the one thing about Jimmy G is he was focusing on those primary 2 reads. Josh Jacobs, it has not been a good start to the season, and a rookie quarterback taking over is concerning. But that's where we're at. That is an afternoon game. That's in Los Angeles. The Chargers defense has been helpful. We were hoping for a shootout there. I hope Aiden O'Connell can get that done. And then the early game with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he was a UCLA product, played 5 years there. Last couple of years, rushed for over 600 yards. Thompson-Robinson he's an athlete. The game's at home. You were starting the Cleveland defense. You're still starting Amari Cooper. But then it throws some shade onto the Elijah Moore PPR bet that I placed earlier this week that hopefully gets voided due to Deshaun Watson not playing. We'll find out if that happens. And then a surprise, Derek Carr's playing this week. Derek Carr in the lineup. Said he started feeling good yesterday, woke up, told the team he felt good today. So there's your quarterback inactives. Al's going to break in if he gets any other news. Running back-wise, Miles Sanders is in. I've lowered him in my rankings a little bit. I think you're going to see some Chuba Hubbard in that game. We thought maybe Miles would miss with the That would be the groin. Justice Hill's playing. Good luck. I mean, you're going to have a committee of Justice Hill and Gus Bus and, Melvin Gordon against the number 1 ranked defense right now in Cleveland. What you can hope for is some short fields, some mistakes from Thompson-Robinson maybe. One of the big storylines of the day, afternoon game, Austin Eckler, still listed as doubtful, chose to tweet this morning, Al. Picture of him on the sidelines, all in his uniform, ready to play football. And then his mom was messaged. It was his mom on Instagram?
Yeah.
With another, let's go.
Bolt up.
I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I genuinely, there's no other information about Austin Eckler this morning, unless you've seen something, Al.
I'm keeping my eye out, but I haven't seen it yet.
And he's still listed as doubtful, which meant that players like Jason Moore were forced to make decisions on, starting Tyler Algier this morning. And looking at the 2-minute mark here, not a good decision. But Eckler, I don't know what to make of that. He may be out there. If you have a later game pivot, I don't know, maybe you're going to play Pacheco tonight and you can wait and figure out the situation with Eckler. If he's in, you'd play him. Because Joshua Kelly's story, I don't even want to read the ending of that book. Elijah Mitchell not expected to play in the Arizona game. So you're going to get Christian McCaffrey maybe more than 100% of the time. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know the math. Saquon, doubtful. And one other big storyline here in the big picture is the news this morning that Ezekiel Elliott is going to get starter-level snaps. And is that not shocking to you? You didn't hear about that until a minute ago, right, Al?
Yeah, you told me about that.
I was telling you about it.
Yep.
And I wanted to pull up let me see if I can pull up some interesting stats I was going to share. Yeah, here's some crazy but true stats. These are coming in from Dave Richard, friend of the show over at CBS. Yards per rush on the year. Zeke is at 4.4, Ramondre at 3.2. Yards before contact per rush, Zeke at 1.9, Ramondre at 1.1. Yards after contact, Zeke at 2.5, Ramondre at 2. Explosive 12-plus yard run rate, Zeke's at 14%, Ramondre's at 2%. So the numbers say that Zeke's been a better running back this year in New England. And we talked about Ramondre on the show earlier and whether he's a disappointment, which to me he has been. And he's about to be a bigger one. And so the questions coming through, I know there's going to be a lot of Ramondre-based questions. And so it's scary. It's sketchy right now. And it's a Dallas matchup. So if you have a pivot option, which you don't.
We'll be talking about one in just a second.
Yeah. And then Beckham out, Bateman out, Burks out, Mingo out, Claypool healthy scratch. That's smart. Hollywood Brown expected to play. Debo, the afternoon game. I've put him back in all my lineups. He's expected to play. Doesn't need to practice a bunch to get out there. Scored a touchdown after the injuries last week. Unless you have a brilliant pivot option, I'd be playing Debo. David Njoku apparently burned his face in a pit fire accident. Showed up to the game in a full face mask. Expected to play. Pretty Halloween-looking situation there. He was full face mask, fur coat, no shirt. You saw that, Al?
Yeah, it was quite a look.
Yeah, it was good.
But the mask, it resembled, for whatever reason, the eye holes. They looked a lot like Jason with a turkey face on.
Yeah, it was very similar. It was very, very similar. So that's the lay of the land right now, unless we have any other information, any other news.
Nothing yet.
Reminder, I'm not going to get to all your questions today. We know that. I'm going to give you a lay of the land. I'm going to answer some big ones. But you can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. The start-sit tool is available. It's also available in our brand new free iPhone, Google Play app, Android app, and you're laughing over there.
It just felt like you were struggling to find Android, and you just went with Google Play.
Yeah, I mean, it is the Google Play Store, but
it is.
It's a free app. The reviews, 4.9. I don't know if you know that, Al.
So, I don't know why it's not 5.
Well, there's always those people.
There is.
Yeah. But it's free. There's nothing you can pay for in it. So you're not going to get a choice. But you get the news, start-sit tool, all that stuff is available. What do we got? We got 8 morning games or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, that gives us only 3 afternoon games after the Falcons game early morning, which is just wrapping up 23-7. Jacksonville on top of the hapless Atlanta Falcons offense. I feel very, very good about hating on Kyle Pitts all offseason because he's talented enough to make me look stupid. But let's move on.
He's so hot right now.
All right, Al, what do we got?
All right, we're going through some of the top most popular searches on the fantasyfootballers.com, and there's 2 names that are really taking over this week, so we're going to focus on them. The first one is at the running back position, Devon Achane. Would you start Devon Achane or Ramondre Stevenson, who we were just talking about?
Yeah, Achane. Look, the situation with Devon Achane is that you can find different paths for him to maybe have intermittent relevance rest of season. But today's a day that you can play him. It's a Buffalo matchup. You're not he's too explosive. We just talked about the explosive run rate of Ramondre is 2%. It's probably about 85% for Achane on the year. I mean, last week you're not going to get 55 points. Hit it. Go ahead. But you have such a higher odds of having him contribute to a big game right now.
Okay, so are you starting Achane or Jerome Ford?
Achane. Yeah, I looked at that Jerome Ford start. He was in consideration for my DFS lineup today. And, I just couldn't find it. I mean, you saw Pierre Strong get involved. Kareem Hunt's snaps are going to go up. Efficiency-wise, Ford was bad. He scored 2 touchdowns last week. I just I don't have confidence this week. Rookie quarterback who's going to run the ball a little bit more. Committee backfield, Baltimore defense. I'd go Achane.
All right. Achan or Javonte Williams?
Javante's got Chicago, right?
That is correct. In Chicago.
I do think he's going to get rolling soon, which I know, Al, would make you very happy having – like, you look back at the draft.
Yep.
Me and you were back-to-back, basically, and I tried to trade to your pick to get James Cook.
Yep.
And he's had a pretty good year so far. Javante's it's been slow, but the offense, the 0-3 Broncos. So I do think he's going to get going.
I hope you're right.
I lean Javonte in that one. I think I'll take the volume, and the matchup is good enough to where I think Javonte could have a big player too, and yeah, I'll lean that direction.
All right, this next question is going to transition us into our next most popular player. In the flex position, would you start Achan or Tank Dell?
Oh, Tank Dell's the most popular player.
A lot of searches on Tank Dell this week.
I'm not – I've said this, like I think you're going to get the maybe some return to Nico this week. I would play Achan. I think I'm going to get some guaranteed touches there. The matchup for Tank Dell, that's a morning game, right?
It is. Yep. Steelers.
There it is. Yeah. No, I lean Achan in that one. I think Tank Dell will be fine, but I think the Pittsburgh defense is going to be a challenge for C.J. Stroud with that offensive line. So
All right.
So Tank Dell questions now.
Yep.
All
Tank
right.
Dell or Garrett Wilson?
I am alone this week in thinking that Garrett Wilson is going to be fine against Kansas City. The game's in New York. The volume last week, 9 targets for Garrett Wilson. I think he'll be fine. I'm going to play Garrett Wilson over Tank Dell. I'm going to believe in the talent. I think that's going to put me in the minority though. And I don't blame anybody who wants to. If you want to avoid the Zach Wilson experience, like you don't want to subscribe to that channel, I get it. Like you want to skip that. Tank Dell's fine. He's been explosive. He's been very good. But I think Garrett will be okay.
All right. What about Tank Dell or Tyler Lockett facing the Giants?
Yeah, I mean the Vegas has that game. Seattle handling their business on the road, which I was surprised at that line. Jackson Smith and Jigma has not been very effective. I'd probably stick with Tyler Lockett there. Higher draft capital for your fantasy teams. Obviously, you want to be staying water and playing. Like Tank Dell to me. 2 really good games does not a season make. And so, defenses are going to adjust to where C.J. Stroud is looking. I think Tank Dell is a very talented player, but I'm gonna go Lockett.
All right, last Tank Dell question here. Tank Dell or Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, I'll go Tank Dell there. I'm Aiden O'Connell starting gives me a little bit of fear, I think. We don't know what the tendencies are going to be. Maybe Jacobs gets more action out of the backfield. Maybe he looks to the tight end position more than Jimmy G has. Jimmy G's been loaded and locked on – that's a different way to say it – on Adams and on Jacoby. So I lean Tank Dell there just for explosivity.
All right. And we're going to do one quick one at the quarterback position, and then we'll move on to the people. I've seen this a few times. Anthony Richardson or Justin Fields?
We've talked about it all week. The Justin Fields situation on paper is pretty good. Like you should be able at home against Denver, who gave up 70, who's looked really bad on the back end, with DJ Moore, with Claypool not there to detour or deter Justin Fields. It should be a good week for Justin Fields. I'm playing Anthony Richardson. I'm going to take the break. I'm going to take the mental health break. I'm going to bench Justin Fields. I'm not going to cut him. There's very good odds you'd have both of those players. I mean, Anthony Richardson is, he's on a lot of rosters where they took an earlier quarterback. I have Tua and Anthony Richardson. Richardson's been very good for fantasy. It's been a little bit obstructed by the fact that he left early. He scored 2 touchdowns against Houston and then left in the first quarter. So I would go Richardson. I think you're going to be just fine. I think your floor is worse with Justin Fields right now.
Okay, I said we were going to do one quick one, but then the chat blew up with Richardson questions, so let's just blitz these real quick. Are you starting Richardson over any of these 3, Burrow, Lamar, or Stafford?
Stafford. I'd play him over Stafford. That offense has looked a little more shaky in the last couple of weeks. The other 2, no. People are wanting to bench Burrow. I've seen that all week long. The questions coming into me, the Russell Wilson over Burrow, I wouldn't do it. Russ has been fine. He should be good. He's on the road against Chicago. I'd still play Joe Burrow. So I'm going to stick with that one.
All right, let's get to the people.
Let's do it.
Stardom, set 'em.
All right, I'm staring at this fiery chat, and the first thing that caught my eyes, Chase Muniz writes in and says O'Connell or Fields, like Aiden O'Connell in that matchup. You know what you can do for me, Al, is you can look up the over/under in the Raiders-Chargers game and see where that's moved. I'm sure one of your 8 gambling phones you could pull out and figure out. I'm sure it's already up on one of them. But I'm curious where that moved, and I'm going to pull up our or maybe I'll have you pull up the show doc from Friday. Let me see if I can grab that. I just want to know what Vegas is thinking of that change at starting quarterback. And I'm going to pull that up really quickly here. The answer is not Aiden O'Connell. I wouldn't be rolling the dice there. The over/under was 48.5.
The over/under is 48, and the Chargers are favored by 6.5.
Okay, it was 5.5 and 48.5, so it's moved a little bit. But no, you don't get that wild. I think Aiden O'Connell's a good player. I mean, I don't know if I just landed him on our dynasty team, Al, but I put in a bid at 9 o'clock to throw him on the roster because the future is probably not Jimmy Garoppolo there. It's probably not Josh McDaniels there. And there you go.
Brooks got him for $33.
Well, that's a lot. I bid $1.
I bid $5.
Oh, I didn't know you were. All right.
It was the 3 of us in the contest, and Brooks smoked us.
Yeah, I just well, Brooks is now notorious for spending. How much fab does he have in this dynasty league?
About as much money as he has in real life.
Andy Tamayo writes in, full PPR Pacheco or Pierce? I've made the decision to go Pierce. I have this exact decision on my team. Jets matchup for the Chiefs tonight. It's close. Pierce has been bad. I'm gonna look for a big play or two against Pittsburgh. That's what I'm hoping for. Trey Hewitt, Garrett Wilson, or Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell's playing in the morning. That's Indianapolis. It's on the road. Again, I'm going to be the lone man willing to go to bat for Garrett Wilson this week. Zay Flowers or Tank Dell in a half PPR. I think you got to go Zay Flowers just for the volume. It's been really low yards per catch. That's been kind of the discouraging factor. But you don't have Beckham. You don't have Bateman. I think DFS-wise, Aguilar is a sneaky play this week. But it's a tough matchup. So, yeah, there's a lot of Houston wide receiver questions that I didn't think we'd be getting at the beginning of the year. Nico or Debo full PPR? You got to play Debo, Landon. Debo is tough. Now you're a man. Yeah, Debo's playing. I'm not treating him as though he's injured this week. If he's active, I'm not worried about, oh, no, he might go out. You don't want to be caught in the David Montgomery pants around your ankle zone where you look stupid. It was, I mean, look, we were hesitant. We were reticent. We were not thinking he'd get a career high in carries coming off the injury. But good players, when they're active, they get the ball. They get the magic sauce that makes them feel real good for that game. And We Are Your Mother, Woody or Buzz? How do you weigh in there on the Toy Story? Woody or Buzz?
I got to go Buzz.
Yeah. I guess I'm a Woody guy.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, you heard me. Did you watch any of the Disney Plus?
Oh, the broadcast?
Yeah.
The Toy Story broadcast?
The digital.
I watched a little bit of it. It's not quite there yet for me, but I could see how kids could have fun with that.
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny because, like, football's, pretty exciting without being animated. But it's a neat. Did you see that, like, the claw machine would pick up the ball?
Yeah.
And set it down for every play, and then you'd have the slinky was the first down yardage.
I like that. That's cool.
Oh, here's where people are at, and we'll get back to the Zeke Stevenson situation, but Bashigi says Stevenson or Thielen in full PPR. Weird. Full PPR. I'm going to take Thielen. Stevenson is scaring me. He's going to get work, and maybe it ends up being what you need it to be. Like maybe Stevenson gets more passing game work because Zeke is taking starter carries on first and second down. It's a shaky situation there. Stevenson's looking like a bust pick right now relative to what your hopes were. Could definitely change, but I'm shocked at those numbers I was reading earlier. Stevenson's just not been that good. Miles Sanders with the injury or DeAndre Swift full PPR? What do you think I'm going to say there, Al? Miles Sanders or DeAndre Swift?
Sorry, I was reading.
Just take a
I was
guess.
reading this crazy stat. Jonnu Smith had 95 yards in week 4. Kyle Pitts has 121 on the season. I got distracted with that.
No,
but I'm guessing you're going to say.
I'll say DeAndre Swift.
There you go.
The Kyle Pitts situation. Invite your friends over. Go out in the backyard. And have a funeral for Kyle Pitts. For your fantasy team. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? I mean, that game had a lot of Jonnu Smith and a lot of Daryl Hodge on third down. Arthur, I'm talking to you. You lost by a lot. I was really worried that after that first half, after they scored in the second half, they were going to come back and win. And Arthur Smith and his pompous mustache was going to rub it in our faces. But no, they lost by a bunch, and Desmond Ridder looks terrible. It should be Taylor Heineke. You should be able to threaten downfield. If they had a play-action game because they could throw downfield, do you know how freaking good Bijan Robinson would be? You can't just run the ball with no threat of passing. And Desmond, you can't just throw the ball to the first guy you look at. All right, Hollywood, McLaurin, DJ Moore, pick 2. Michael wants to know. Hollywood, McLaurin, DJ Moore, pick 2. I'm going to take the last 2. I'm going to take McLaurin and DJ Moore. Hollywood freaks me out a little bit with the finger injury, and matchup's terrible. Brock wants to know Ramondre or Jaylen Warren. I think Ramondre still. There is, I mean, you gotta remember one report in the morning late about Zeke and starter reps. I mean, he had like 14, 15 carries last week already. I think both guys still get work. I think it's a bridge too far to go to Jaylen Warren. But Miles Sanders or Achane from Nick? Achane. Miles Sanders groin injury. I'm worried about that. And Chuba's been pretty good. Caesar wants to know Pacheco or Rachaad White in a PPR. Remind me the Rachaad White matchup. Oh, it's New Orleans. In New Orleans. It's bad matchups for both players. Full PPR, I'm going to stick with Rachaad White. I think he gets more passing game work. A lot of questions coming through, sometimes with really bad options, like Scooty here. Scooty has Miles Sanders or Khalil Herbert in a PPR. I'm going to bat for Garrett Wilson. I'm going to bat for Khalil Herbert this week in the matchup. So I'll go Khalil Herbert, which is not something I've been proud to say at all this year. Moss or Swift? Boosta wants to know. Zach Moss probably playing every down in the game, or DeAndre Swift playing every down very well. Against Washington, they're at home. DeAndre Swift's been electric. Man, I think those are very even options. So if you have a conviction one way, you should go with your conviction. I lean Zach Moss by like 51-49. There you go. Time for a couple more, Al?
Yeah, let's do a couple more.
You see any very popular names we need to discuss? Amari Cooper or Mike Evans? I'd go Mike Evans because of the change at quarterback. That would be a decision I'd go with there. Full PPR, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, or Javonte Williams. I'll probably go Javonte in that matchup. That's a tough one, though. Javonte or Lockett, I'd pivot away from Cooper, just not knowing how Dorian Thompson-Robinson's going to do. Gabe Davis or Ramondre, I play Gabe in the highest over-under of the week. Richardson or Fields? Richardson, we just talked about that. You seeing any other big names, Al, that you want to throw out there?
I've seen Puka come across a few times.
Yeah, Puka or Mike Evans, full PPR. Man. Full PPR, I guess I'll go Puka.
What about DJ Moore or Puka?
I'll go Puka.
Okay.
DJ Moore is such a scratcher's ticket. I mean, it's such a...
He's got a Justin Fields problem.
Really does. I mean, you're seeing that a lot this year. That would be... I'm going to end on that storyline because Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson, Drake London with Desmond Ridder, Justin Fields and DJ Moore. It's almost like the quarterback has to be kind of good. I mean, these pass rushes. I mean, the offensive lines. That's what I'm seeing a lot of even in Jacksonville won the game. They didn't look great today. They don't have it going downfield. A lot of Evan Ingram underneath. Kind of a mess. So
yeah, if Ridley didn't get that touchdown, he would have been a bust today.
And that was like his first target.
Yep.
30-yard touchdown, and then he had a target in the second half. How many total catches did he have?
I don't have that.
It might have been. I think it was 2.
Might have been.
Maybe more, but it was 2 long into the game. Ramondre Stevenson or Jerome Ford? I lean Ford. Mostert, Mike Evans. I guess I'll take a piece of the highest over-under and the number 1 running back right now, and Raheem Mostert, which is just a weird thing to say. So, like I said, as we close this thing down, I want to remind everybody, go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. We have the start-sit tool available for all of your questions. We've been adjusting rankings this morning, as we always do, trying to get a last-minute bit of news. Pay attention to the Austin Eckler afternoon situation. If you end up, you have a, Matt Breida you were going to play on Monday night, or Pacheco tonight, or Swift tonight, Gainwell tonight, any of those players, McKinnon, you were going to chase the McKinnon 2 touchdowns. Pay attention. See if Eckler's active. He might be a surprise active this afternoon based on the way we do journalism now, which is tweets and Instagram. So that's the last thing I've heard. And I'm checking our news to see if there's anything else. Man, the Jonnu Smith thing, that's wild. That's wild. All right, thank you for joining me this morning on Sunday Live. Mike should be back with you next week where he can resume tilting in my stead. So that is it. Thanks again for following along. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.